Hey folks, Jeff here at Back to Country. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. Anyway, I thought I'd share with you what's been going on here with the mini excavator. So the last few days I've been working to replace a whole bunch of hoses on this thing. And the problem wasn't necessarily replacing some of the individual hoses were pretty easy, but it was draining the whole system, getting to the hoses. And then of course, sometimes to get one hose you had to release other hoses. It was just a lot of fun, but we got through it. I got all the low pressure lines replaced except one that I'm not going to replace. I'll show it to you here in a second. Anyway, let's get under there. I'll show you basically what I've been doing. So this is underneath. So basically that blue thing right there is the main hydraulic pump. This hose right here we had to replace. And this hose, because it's got these unique bends in it, was a bear to find. I ended up ordering it out of a company in Hong Kong. It was just a bear to find one. And then the rest of them I just bought, you know, off the shelf stuff. So this is just a silicone hose that works with you know, hydraulic fluid and stuff, so should be fine. That of course right there was the easiest hose to replace. And then if we come over, I don't know if you can see it back there or not. Kind of up above, up in there, there's a hose. So of course to replace that hose, there's only like a 1 or 2 inch gap between the two pipes. And so we had to get up in here, release a U-bolt, so we could then spin this whole pipe around, put the hose on one side, flip it down and slide it over to the other side. Just a real pain in the butt to deal with. All these spaces where the bolts are, of course, super tight. And, you know, it's never easy. Of course, if you look, there's a lot of oil and grease under here. This sucker has been leaking for quite some time. And unfortunately out here I don't have a steam cleaner or anything to pressure wash this and clean it up. So it is what it is for now. It'll stay greasy, and someday when I get the shop built and everything gets set up, I'll clean this whole thing, and that'll hopefully make any future work a little bit easier, at least cleaner. So those were the first lines that we had to replace. And then the next ones, yeah, way up on this back wall, I think it's a return line or something, but it goes to the oil cooler. And there's that line up on top, and then there's another line down lower that you can't see from here. So I had to come in from the top and from the outside. So here's the side panel. So we had to remove this fuel filter, water separator, and you can see the blue hose down there. Get in there and replace that sucker. In order to do that, we had to come in from the top, pull this panel on top to get access to it, and then you can see down there in the bottom where it connects to that pipe. Of course, before that you got this one running down the wall here. We had to undo a couple bolts down there and remove this pipe from the wall so we could maneuver everything and get the different hoses connected there. That is, I think, every single low pressure line on this except for one. And the one that I didn't replace is this one right here. It doesn't appear to be leaking, and the reason I didn't replace it is it appears to be in pretty good shape. Maybe it was replaced in the not too distant past. But since it's up top, and basically, you know, it comes here from the hydraulic tank, this is your return. So the hot hydraulic fluid comes in that hose we replaced down on the bottom, and it flows through this cooler and then back out the top and back into the tank. I believe that's the path that it takes. Anyway, since it's at the top and high in the system, you don't have to drain it all to change it or anything. So if I do have an issue in the future, that's an easy one to replace. Access is easy. Well, I say that, but of course, you know, there's probably only this much gap between the two sides, which basically means either the cooler has to be unbolted and slid back. Yeah, this is welded here, so or maybe if you unbolt these, a fitting slides out. I don't know. Can't really tell. That looks like a solid block. I'd have to get in the book and look, but worst case scenario, you unbolt the oil cooler and then tilt that back enough to get the new hose on. Anyway, looks like a real pain in the butt, but like I say, it's not leaking. It doesn't look like it has leaked. It's all in good condition. The hose feels good. I don't see any deterioration on the ends, so I'm just going to leave that one, and if it's a problem in the future, like I say, we at least have access to it, and it's high in the system, so we don't have to drain it. So I think that'll be okay. So that's that. Of course, next thing we'll have to do is refill all the hydraulic fluid, which is about I don't know, 35-40 gallons total. Put back in it and run it and check for leaks. You know, last time I messed with this, I fixed a hose and ran it and found another one that was leaking, so that's why I decided let's just drain it and do them all before we waste any more time doing that. So that actually took me a couple days to do all this, and well, to make it worse, I mean, it's been hot. I mean, today it's going to be 97. Yesterday we hit, I don't know, 99 or 100. Day before that it was 97. So definitely getting hot in the afternoons. And when you come out here, like when I was trying to lay up on top there to reach down into that opening, you know, the first time I got on that, the metal was hot and, you know, practically scalding. So that don't make it any easier. You got to take breaks to go in the air conditioner and cool down and rehydrate constantly. So just makes everything that much harder. It'll be so nicer when we have a shop with air conditioner in it. So the next job we got is this cylinder right here that controls the blade is leaking. So basically, if you look real close underneath the cylinder rod there, you can see a clean spot where the oil is washing it off. So that main seal right there in the middle is probably gone, but nobody just pulls this apart and replaces, you know, the one seal or whatever. If you're going to rebuild it, rebuild it. So we're going to tear this thing down, rebuild the whole thing. So of course, before we tear it down, we got to figure out how to tear it down and what you know, how this is going to work. So I think the best way, just looking at it, obviously we got two hydraulic hoses to disconnect. We'll have to remove that protection plate there to get to that one. This one will be, looks easy. And then I'm guessing the best way to do it would be to pull that pin up there to get play in it. I don't know if we're gonna have to pull a pin down at the bottom and totally remove it from the dealer, if we will have enough room to work. It looks tight, so we'll see. I mean, yeah, the best way to do this looks like I need to refill the hydraulic, swing this cab to the side so that it kind of gives us some room to play. Otherwise, I don't see how we're going to get that thing out of there without removing both ends and totally pulling the cylinder off. So I'm going to have to analyze that a little bit and see which would be easier. I was kind of wanting to wait until I get the cylinder rebuilt before I refill it with hydraulic fluid, because this is a low spot in the system and I don't want it trying to drain constantly, and I don't think I have any plugs for those hoses or a union that I can put them together. I'll have to check and see if I do. That could be an option as well. So, you know, that's the challenge of these things when you start working on them and you're not experienced and don't do this for a living. You literally have to analyze every move, figure out, okay, what's the best way to attack this, and not get myself into trouble, you know, where I get stuck. Because once I tear it down, then my options of starting it and trying to swing the cab or anything, those options are pretty much removed at that point, unless I have a way to bolt those or join those two hoses together and seal that hydraulic system. That's the only way I could do that, which if I don't have the part readily available, then pretty much screwed. As far as taking the cylinder down, you know, that's really the easy part in this equation, because I've already rebuilt a cylinder on this thing, so I basically know the gist of how these cylinders are put together. You got holes like this one and this one in the side, so there's a spanner wrench that has pins, and you got to get that wrench on there and try to unscrew that end cap, and then pull the whole thing apart and replace all your seals, O-rings, wipes, etc. to rebuild that thing. Like I say, once you get it apart, it's really not a difficult job. It's just a matter of how do we attack that thing. So looking at it from this side, I can see here, pull that bolt, and that's how you pull that pin out. So maybe not that hard to pull the whole thing. Maybe that's what I'll do, is just pull the whole cylinder off and rebuild it in the shop, even though I don't have a shop in the container, out of the sun, whatever. But before I can even do that, while it's still in the position, I want to break this thing free, because these things can be a bear. And typically, you know, if you can't get it to break free, then you have to heat all this up with the torch in order to break it free and get it to turn. Once you get it spinning, you're good. But who knows how many years before this thing was messed with last, before it's, you know, been repacked. It may still be factory original. There just ain't no way to know. So that's a challenge. Yeah, that's pretty much what I always deal with. And like I say, I'm not a mechanic. I've just kind of go for it. I understand the concept. I've got the books that at least tell me, you know, how things go. But as far as having done all this in the past, nope, don't have no experience. Now the other weird thing, so when I look at this hose right here, you know, it almost appears to be, this fitting might be bent a little bit. So if I get that off and discover that thing's bent, You know, there's some oil buildup on there. It could have a little crack or something in it if it is bent. So I need to take a look at that and might have to replace that thing, which that could be a challenge to go find this exact fitting. This one down here has this shield on it, so it's protected. So that's not too bad. Yeah, so this thing, I've been, you know, working on this thing for literally months. It's just been sitting here as I chase leaks and mess with it here and there when I get time. So one of my goals for this trip was to actually get this thing back up and running 100%. Other things that are wrong with it. Now, I bought this thing sight unseen at an online auction. One of the reasons that I bought it was because it was here local and I knew I wouldn't have to pay shipping on it. So that, you know, right there was a huge ordeal, or benefit, whatever. Of course, you know, Murphy being Murphy, when it came time to go get it, my truck was broke, so I couldn't take my trailer and go get it. So luckily I had a neighbor that does, you know, hot shotting and hauls, and he went and got it for me. So that was, you know, good to have good neighbors. Anyway, other things that are wrong with this thing, you know, it's not a new machine, and everything pretty much works. This computer has some problems. I replaced the computer display and stuff, but I've never got it quite working right. And I did find a bunch of wires that were chewed up by mice, so I fixed all that. So hopefully I can dink with that again and get it working right. It at least powers on now, but the display is not giving me the readouts I want, so I need to figure that out. I think it's just some, it's got some dip switches on the back that I need to change out for this machine or something. The air conditioner doesn't work. It's all there, the fan comes on, so I'm guessing probably the evaporator is plugged with dirt and it needs to be cleaned, and it's probably no Freon in the system and probably got leaks and who knows what. So someday I'll have to get to that, figure it all out. Once I can get it sealed up so there's no leaks in, I can put some Freon refrigerant in it, you know, and get it going again. I've learned a lot about air conditioning as well, so it's something I can fix. It's just a matter of getting the time to go through it. And then the other thing are the controls. Currently the controls are backwards from my big John Deere. So basically between the arm and the boom controls are switched from left to right. So and I just apparently can't teach an old dog new tricks. Once I got the muscle memory to that other machine, it's hell to get in this one and try to function. So I'm going to figure out how to change those controls. A lot of the newer machines just have a valve that you flip over and changes the controls just that easy. Unfortunately, this machine's just old enough that it doesn't have that valve built in. So I believe, I'm not positive, but I believe this right here is for your pattern change controls. You got A, B, C, D labeled here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm guessing that those just need to be flipped to the opposite sides, but I really don't know. So that's going to require getting somebody to help me out and, you know, run through controls while I grab hoses and feel, you know, if I can feel pressure change flow, you know, that it's working, so that I can figure out the diagram in my head and then know that, yeah, okay, that's how you switch it. Otherwise, I don't want to break something and switch it incorrectly and totally screw it up. Even though it's easy to figure out how to put it back, I just don't want to break anything in the process. So I'll have to kind of think through that. Unfortunately, I've been unable to find any kind of guidance online for this particular machine. I've got the repair manual and stuff, but it just doesn't tell me any of this. So that's something I want to do, figure out the pattern change and get through that. The engine runs great. It's a Yanmar engine. It runs great. We've got the air conditioning compressor right here. So, you know, the parts are there. It's got a belt on it. It just doesn't kick on or anything. So, like I say, I haven't put the meter, whatever you call it, gauges, air conditioner gauges onto it to figure out pressures and all that stuff. I've got the connections I can see are on the hoses right here and here. So, you know, your high and low pressure hookups are there. So I can put a set of gauges on it and do that. Jump the compressor clutch to make sure that works. And then if it's, you know, empty on Freon, that of course it's got your high and low pressure sensors that aren't going to allow it to come on. So someday we'll get to that. For now, we just, you know, work through the heat, keep the door open, whatever. We can open the glass in the door and survive. But it'd be nice to have this thing full up and air conditioner and everything working. So, you know, this is what I do on all my machines. I just kind of go through them. Whatever doesn't work, I just troubleshoot it down and slowly try to get it repaired. The goal, I don't care about pretty. So, you know, you can see this thing right here. If you look, I mean, there's big hammer dents where this thing has been pounded out from the inside, probably with a ball peen hammer, because they dented it, crashed into something, whatever. You can see the corner over there is dented, this corner here is dented. So, you know, operators in the past, I don't know if it was maybe a rental or what, but you know, they bumped it into stuff and dented it up pretty good. It's I don't know what year it is. It's an older model, but like I say, it runs great, and everything other than the things I mentioned do function. I mean, all the controls, it works, it digs, it does what it's supposed to do. Just a matter of fixing all these leaks and everything and trying to get it 100% operational, repairing everything. You know, things I may not repair. So somewhere down in there, I can't really see it from here, but there's the backup beep beep horn, whatever, you know, turn it, put it in reverse, beep beep, does all that. I don't know that I'm going to turn that sucker back on because I don't really need it out here, and I don't plan on doing any kind of work for anybody else. This is just my personal stuff to do what we're doing. And the plan for this thing, of course, is digging ditches. I mean, when we start laying water lines, power lines, etc., whatever we're doing, we need to dig ditches to do that, because I'd like to bury everything, and this machine's going to do it. This is for all the small jobs. I would like to get a smaller bucket for this. Well, yesterday we messed with this thing all day long, and we failed. No matter what I did, I could not get that collar to break free. So today we said, forget it. We ain't gonna mess with it. Give it some time and we'll come back and hit it again. I don't know, maybe tomorrow or next day or so. We'll figure it out. We'll get back to it. I got some ideas how to get it apart, but yesterday it didn't go too well. A little bit frustrating, so today we decided to do something else. So we decided to do some work on the beast, trying to troubleshoot a little leak we got on that thing. Unfortunately, I still haven't found it, but I was able to move a few loads of dirt, and in the fourth load of dirt I blew a seal and started leaking hydraulic fluid on the chain motor. So there's another thing I gotta pull apart now and at a minimum replace the seal. But if I take the whole thing off, I'll probably go through it and rebuild it, whatever, make it better. But here's the dirt that I was able to move. So typically 21 yards per load, 3 and about 3/4 loads. So I don't know, what is that, 33, maybe 45 yards of dirt probably. So no, that ain't right. I shouldn't do math in public. So let's see, 21 times 3, 63, and then we'll say another, I don't know, let's just say 75 yards. So that's about 75 yards of dirt there. That, I guess, makes more sense. So it don't look like much when you look at it just spread out like this, but we're gonna jump on the dozer and spread this stuff out and see if we can't make a little progress on that road. Alright, so we spent some time on the dozer, moved some dirt around. It's pretty much what I do. I just push dirt all over until I like the way it looks. Remember, I got zero experience at this. I've taught myself how to run this equipment, and I just do the best I can, learn as I go. So it ain't perfect. I need more dirt to get it where I want it, but we're making progress. Making progress. The road's at least safe again, so I can drive up and down it without having to worry about the side giving way and falling over the edge. Anyway, so that's progress, a little bit at a time. Now I gotta fix some more equipment and hopefully get stuff back up and going so I can pile some more dirt in here and keep working it how I want it, little by little. Just gotta get this good so that I can get rock over the top of it and hopefully get ready to bring in some cement trucks and delivery trucks, etc. I think that's still a little bit steeper than I want it, so I need to extend it out. But that's all about getting more dirt. Bottom line is we're closer than we were, so every time we work on it, it gets just a little bit closer. But you can tell from looking at it that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Practice, practice, practice. Maybe sometime I'll meet an old timer that really knows how to run these old machines and he'll come up and give me some pointers. That would be a blessing. Until then, we just keep trying to figure it out. Anyway, I think we're going to probably wrap up this video. Appreciate y'all watching, and as always, God bless. Hope you have a great day. Join us again for more. We'll keep on going as the saga continues. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stick with us. Thanks.